Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Kino, where we talk about movies and I tell Ryan why he's wrong. I'm Moses. My co-host is Ryan. And this week, what are we talking about, Ryan?
We are talking about the Lonely Island film from 2014, 15? One of
16,
those.
I think, actually.
Oh, 16. Oh, shit.
I think
Okay.
it's 2016.
Yeah, my bad then. 2016. That's more recent than I remember it being.
I always think it's
Popstar,
2015 as
Never
well.
Stopping.
Yeah, it's 2016. Yeah, Popstar.
2016.
The movie has a lot of references to 2015 things, and I think it's set in 2015 because that's when they filmed it.
Yeah, one of the title cards says like in 2015.
Yeah, so
as it's playing out.
The movie is set in 2015, as far as we know.
Okay.
But it's produced and directed by members of The Lonely Island. Akiva and Jorma directed it, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they did.
Starring Andy Samberg and the rest of the boys, as we call them.
Yeah.
It's a huge cast of characters as well, of actors. I mean, huge cast of A-list celebrities who they were able to pull in for the movie, and it's about a pop star, and it's a mockumentary, kind of making fun. Specifically, stylistically, I feel like it's making fun of like the One Direction, Justin Bieber ones that were coming around that time. Because I think in 2013 and all that around that time, when they were probably coming up with the idea, there was like One Direction documentaries and Justin Bieber ones coming out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what the goal was. But I actually read something interesting a few days ago.
Oh, wait, I think that we're talking about the same thing. Because I watched an interview with them where they brought this up.
That they were right, where they felt like the film was too pigeonholed as like a specific like mockumentary of like boy groups or like people or Justin Bieber, because the marketing really went. Yeah, the marketing really went.
I watched a video where they were talking about that, and you probably read a write-up of that or something, because they were getting out interviews for Palm Springs, and the interviewer was I think Collider did an interview, and they were talking about Popstar and how it's like one of the best movies of the past 15 years or whatever. Yeah, and one of the best comedies, and they were like, the marketing really leaned into the fact that it was like a parody of Justin Bieber, especially like he's wearing a white outfit on the cover, like just on the poster, like Justin Bieber did for his movie, and the title like Never Stop, Never Stopping is an aping of Never Say Never, which is the Justin Bieber one, I think. I know.
And the whole Anne Frank.
Anne Frank. That wasn't marketing. That's in the movie.
Yeah.
But it was in the trailers though. But it's actually more about the Lonely Island, because it's very much about the group's dynamics somewhat. And
it is.
About that in the interview. It's about their bond, because it's it's like there's an element of.
It is semi-autobiographical.
Yeah, biographical. It is. Because it is about like they really were friends growing up. Made a music
and one
together.
of them and
it's more successful than the others.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But in a different way.
It's not in a it's not in a pop store.
Yeah.
Also, the movie, I can't remember from the interview, but the movie was originally going to have a different title when they were making it. Marketing came up with Popstar Never Stopping, or whatever it's called. It was meant to be called like Connor for Real for Life, Connor for Real Forever, something like that. Connor for Real was in the title.
Picking something like that, I think, probably would have been better, considering the genericness of the title.
Yeah, Popstar
isn't really something that I think that
doesn't grab your attention.
Right. It doesn't, and the subheading is funny.
It's funny. No, it is funny. They admit that it's very funny. But
it's funny, but it's also too long, and most people aren't going to call it by its full name.
Also,
so people are just
always get it wrong.
Like Popstar,
I always add to it. I'm like Popstar Never Stopping, never stopping. I can never.
It always seems
what it is. It always seems super long. I never get it right.
Yeah, it does.
But getting into the movie,
it was just interesting. It was interesting to hear their approximation of how the marketing handled like the film, and like how it wasn't really the views of what they really wanted to go with, and how they really saw the project.
Yeah, and apparently when they knew it wasn't going to be a big box office hit when they were editing it already, like they could tell. Because this movie, if you didn't know, did not do well at the box office, very sadly. Even though I think it could have done well.
No.
It was mismarketed.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Because it was marketed too much as it was aggressively marketed as a like a Justin Bieber parody type thing.
Yeah, it was marketed
in 2016 isn't that appealing anymore. It's kind of dated by 2016. The Justin Bieber thing.
Well, it was marketed as a spoof movie,
which it is partially. It definitely is.
It is.
It's more. It's not a spoof of anyone directly, though. It's spoofing the entire music industry.
Right, and people and the comparison to like, oh, it's a pop version of like This Is Spinal Tap. It's like, yeah, it's a spoof.
I haven't
movie
seen
in that sense,
Spinal Tap, so I can't say that.
The Spinal Tap is very good, but
yeah, I know.
Like the movie isn't only that kind of film, because like I also feel like those kind of like comedies where like spoof comedies are very like not outdated, but like they don't really exist anymore. It's like elements of it exist within other types of comedy, but not so much like.
I'm trying to think.
A pure spoof kind of film.
Do you think spoof movies were killed by the whole scary movie thing in the early 2000s? I'm 100%. I'm just speculating, but like those are really cheap spoof movies that kind of left a bad taste in people's mouths, because it was like scary movie, and then they made 1 billion of those, and then they made like a superhero movie, like all those.
Yeah.
And there's a million of those.
They made a spoof of like 300 and like
there's a really bad one.
Weird movies like that.
There's a really bad Twilight one as well.
Yeah, so like there's all sorts of really weird ones throughout the 2000s that just like definitely killed that off.
Because you can make like a lot of cheap jokes and with like a scary movie type premise.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree.
It was kind of run into the ground, that idea, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember other spoof movies, but I'm thinking more of spoof shows. But yeah, so to get into the movie, I think it is one of the best movies of the 2010s of the decade. It's, even though I didn't give it 5 stars on Letterboxd, it is so goddamn funny. It is hilarious. I find it absolutely hilarious. There is like so many jokes layered into it. There's heart to the movie as well. The songs are banging as well. I was listening to the soundtrack all week.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I actually think in editing, they kind of were maybe forced to change songs around or get rid of some songs, because early on in the marketing, you could tell they were leaning more in like the first trailers. They were leaning more into the song Mona Lisa, which is barely played in the movie, and then but then later on, towards when the movie was being released, if you look at that, and in the movie itself, they're leaning more heavily on the Adam Levine song, Humble, I'm So Humble, or whatever it's called. I'm So Humble, which came out a year before Kendrick Lamar's Humble. I'm just realizing that now. But and I think that song isn't. Our Wi-Fi dropped out for a second because Ryan's in a new apartment, but we're back.
Yeah.
I was talking about the song choices in the film. Even though we should talk about the plot, I'll talk about the song choices in the film. In the marketing, the first trailer, you could tell they were leaning heavily into the Mona Lisa song, which I think is fantastic. But then later on, towards when the movie was releasing, they were leaning more into the song I'm So Humble, which has the Adam Levine feature. And it featured at the start of the movie, and they performed it at the Voice talent show thing. And so the big song towards the end of the marketing push for the film was definitely I'm So Humble. And they cut the Mona Lisa song in half. The full song isn't even featured in the film, which is a huge mistake. And I also, my theory, this is all me theorizing about like the song being cut in editing or whatever. The song Ashley Wednesday, which is sung by Seal in the movie, the full version you can hear on the soundtrack is like completely referencing the Mona Lisa song as well. And so because the Mona Lisa song has a bit where it's like, I'm an American man and this is my native land. And that bit is Seal sings it again in the Ashley Wednesday song, and he talks about like he'll do anything for her except go to Paris, and like because he didn't like the Mona Lisa.
Oh yeah.
And so like those songs are woven into each other, and they also cut out a lot of the Seal song because the wolves attack. But that further proves that I think they really were leaning into that song being bigger than it was toward when they actually released the movie. I went on for way too long talking about that, but that's my theory.
Probably. Well, I mean, the Lonely Island are known for their music. Well, now they are, and I mean, it's definitely a big part of the film. I mean, I haven't listened to the soundtrack in full. I thought that was a good song. Again, didn't like within the context of the film, you hear only like a chunk of it.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a great song.
For me though, like it's the one that, like, to me the best song in it is the Bin Laden one.
Which, by the way, I can't believe I always forget this when I rewatch this film, which I do a lot. I always forget that they don't play the music video they filmed for it.
Yeah.
You can only find that on the Blu-ray and on YouTube, because it's a really good music video. Like, it's really good and really funny.
And we talked about it like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But like I think they could have easily, like, if they dropped the Pride song in there, they could have easily dropped the music video for Finest Girl in there, especially because like
it has a lot of SNL cast members.
And
it's
what
really
they did
well
instead
produced.
of just like and you know, showing him singing on a concert stage is well good and all, but they played the entire song. They don't cut it like other songs. So if they play the entire song,
boring.
And I did think that second time around, like, it's strange that they didn't, you know, put it in the music video that they probably spent a lot of time and money making.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun that they have that now, but like, it seems strange that they didn't put that in.
I think you can tell that the studio maybe stepped in, or someone stepped in the edit, which goes further to prove my theory that like some of the stuff was butchered in the edit. And I don't own the Blu-ray, and I haven't looked up that many of the extra clips, but apparently there's a lot of extra footage of like interviews and stuff. And I don't think this movie has an extended cut, which is a shame, because I bet this movie could benefit from that.
It depends on how extended.
Well, no, like, not overly long, but I would totally watch it. Even though maybe narrative, like pacing wise, the shorter version would work better. The Dewey Cox story, like joke wise, there's a lot more in the extended cut than in the theatrical one, but which hurts the pacing overall. But if you already have seen the original cut, you just want to go in for the jokes. There are some
nice new jokes.
And so I'd be willing to watch more of the outtakes in terms of like the extra interviews they filmed. Because there has to be a lot. You don't get like Simon Cowell and A$AP Rocky for 2 lines.
Yeah.
You know, which by the way, I love the A$AP Rocky joke with Rockios or whatever his cereal's called.
The Lunchables.
Yeah. A$AP Rocky's Lunchables, and you've got the little tune playing. That's so funny. And they got him to do that goofy ass face for the cover of it. That's so funny.
They did. I like how well. I haven't even shared my initial thoughts. For me, I think that like. A lot. No, I don't put it as like high in terms of like, you know, overall best films of the last like 10 years. I'm not going to go that far, but I do think it is like one of the best comedies of the 2010s.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And like what, as with any good comedy should do, like, yes, it's very funny, but also like it's a very good satire.
Oh, it's
and
so
like
good.
It's got great satire. It's got a good heart, which like watching the second time around, I forgot how layered that is actually into the story. It's not just kind of tossed into the third act like a lot of comedies. Like they actually pack a lot of those kind of beats in throughout, which is actually really well done and shows the, like, you know, that the film's heart's in the right place, and that you could tell that the group actually cared about telling their like story of friendship and like kind of overcoming adversity within like the media business. Again, like you said when we at the start, like it is semi autobiographical.
Yeah.
And I thought that really works. There are like occasional nitpicks, but the only real major issue I have with the film is that the film, I think, spends too much time on like his fall. So like it pacing wise it goes on for too long to where you're like, it feels like we should be already moving past this point, but there's an additional like 15 to 20 minutes of this, which like again is funny and like it's super entertaining to watch. There's never a dull moment.
I think the editing, there's something off in the editing of the film. Something happened in the edit, I think.
Could be. I could definitely see that with a film like this, someone getting their hand, like not studio interference per se.
I think marketing, studio interference, something along those lines came in because they had like little faith in the film performing well, which
is right. But I mean, thankfully, yeah,
but the fact that
it's still a good film.
Yeah, but the fact that they're vocal about it now tells me that definitely some stuff happened.
Oh yeah, and like again, it's I guess it's a miracle that the film turned out good.
Yeah,
because I've seen 2 other lonely like Jorma and Akiva directed films, which was Hot Rod, which I didn't think was very good.
I thought it's all right. It has 2 of the funniest gags, which is the dancing in the forest and then falling bit, and then the no please no segment of the film.
That's
so long. That to me is great. Those 2 parts are hilarious to me. But you're right. The rest of the film is kind of I haven't seen.
Whereas Jorm I think MacGruber's so funny. Like MacGruber's actually really good.
MacGruber, actually. So I'll have to watch that.
But it's interesting because they like the Lonely Island's like music and like being known as like comedians in that sphere are more well known than like their actual films, because it's like a lot of people what they consider to be like the most underrated like comedies of like the last 10 years is Popstar and MacGruber. It's both, which is really kind of
and a lot of people like Hot Rod. Like a lot of people like Hot Rod.
Yeah, so
it's a cult film as well. It just doesn't work for me as well as Popstar does.
No, it does not. I agree with that.
But also, the Lonely Island, they're a producing powerhouse. They produce a lot of stuff, like TV and movies.
Yeah, that's because
I can pull it up.
I think
they produced Brigsby Bear, which is a pretty good movie as well. Which is another cult film, actually. If I think
Palm
about
Springs recently, of course,
because
they didn't write or direct that. They didn't.
No, but they have their fingerprints all over it.
Oh yeah, but that's
their hands are in the pie. Yeah, but you can tell. Our Wi-Fi dropped out again. I was just asking Ryan, what do you think of the actual movie outside of the nitpicks? Which I have one that I haven't mentioned yet that I will get to.
Well, outside of like those small stuff and like how I feel about the pacing about 3/4 of the way through, which again is a bit difficult because like that's really what the film's about, so it's hard for me to have that complaint. But at the same time, it does feel at times longer than it is, even though the film's like 1:25. It's really not that long of a film. But other than that, I think I think it's great. And I think that one of the things they do really well are like the celebrity cameos, because they aren't gratuitous and they actually are funny. Like, my favorite one was DJ Khaled's when they're talking about like the catchphrase verse that he does. No. And he's like, I can't remember the exact line.
Oh yeah. When you have a catchphrase, you catch. You catch.
You catch the phrases people give you, or like.
I have to look up the quote. Let me pull it up. Keep talking.
And like, it's just really dumb, and I think that was really funny. And the stuff with Mariah Carey was great. The Justin Timberlake like little consistent thing was really funny as well. Oh, I really liked
the Justin Timberlake in this as well.
Yeah, he was really funny. You mentioned also, they didn't overuse Rocky bit was very good.
Yes. They didn't overuse Justin Timberlake in this, which I was very happy about.
Yeah. Even one of my favorites is the Bill Hader cameo.
Yeah, when he's a flatliner.
Yeah, he's a flatliner, and he's like, yeah, it's my job to make sure all the instruments work, even though like it's all electronic. Like, we don't need the instruments. He's just walking. And later they never give him a speaking part again. They just have and I noticed this time. They have a few shots of him like tuning the guitar in like the background, or like him like getting ready for the show, and then they just cut away and that's it, because it's the gag of like he's preparing for nothing, and just like
I don't think
that
Andy
level of like
Samberg's
stupidity is pretty smart, I think.
I don't think Andy Samberg's wife is in this, but Akiva and Jorma's wife are in the film. They have cameos as well. Mariel Heller at the end is one of the documentary filmmakers for like.
No, I take it back. Snoop Dogg. Yeah, you reminded me. The Snoop Dogg cameo is my favorite. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Also, I like the joke. There's like everybody has their own documentary, and so they're all getting mixed up with.
It's great.
One of the best jokes as well is when they get attacked by the giant bee, and the camera's tucked away, and they're like, "Oh my god!" You hear the sound of a flamethrower. It's like, did you get that? So good.
And like the sound design on that was really good because like I do love that bit.
Yeah, but the DJ Khaled, it's like when you have a catchphrase, the world is catched by your phrase.
Yeah,
it's so like that.
Yeah, that's my second favorite line in the film, and then my favorite line in the film is from Snoop Dogg when he's like, "Yeah, I'm recording for my new TV show. I can't remember the title of it, but like it's for my new TV show, Surprise Motherfucker." And then it's just like you motherfuckers just got surprised. And I think that's like they use this like Snoop Dogg as like a cameo is like a very gratuitous thing at this point.
Yeah,
like,
because he's in everything.
They used him very well. He
was in Pitch Perfect too. He's in everything.
Oh yeah, he was. God, I've seen all three of those films.
I have not seen the third one, but I have seen 1 and 2. And we are both about the age
1 is a
where
good film.
You could not escape the Cup song when that movie came out. We're the age where it's like we were in school and we could not escape it. We learned that in music class. They taught us that in music class.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good old Mr. Beam.
Not Mr. Beam, not that teacher.
I
was in a different school.
Nice.
I was in 2013-14 when that song was big.
That's right.
I wasn't in Amsterdam.
Nah, I just remember that being played all the time, especially on the radio.
Also, you just outed our school's music teacher, the high school.
Yeah, my bad. Not in a bad way. He was great.
Yeah.
He's a very nice man.
Music. Okay. Another joke I love is the fact that Connor has a perspective manipulator.
Yes, I wanted to bring. Yeah, I watched.
It's so good.
I've completely forgotten about that.
So good.
Before I'd rewatch it this afternoon. Yeah, I thought that was so great, and all I could think of in that moment was just like celebrities like Tom Cruise, who like I wouldn't put it past. Just like if you're
even
like,
Justin Bieber is not that tall, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
I love that.
I think Akiva has the line, "We were like a tricycle. If you take one wheel away, it's useless." That is.
And then he goes, "That's a bike. Don't use that."
Yeah. Also, him getting shit on by a bird constantly. Good shit.
Yeah, especially at the end when he's like, "Do you see that?" And then it's just like, and then it hits him again. Yeah.
I like the recurring bit of CMZ, which is TMZ, but they're absolutely insane. It's almost too much. It's so aggressive.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Well, what I loved about that was like the cacklingness of it. Like they were like pure evil, and like the cup gag of aspect of it. I still don't quite get it.
Because they're always drinking. I've seen enough of those exact type of TMZ videos where they're in like an office space talking.
They've always got a cup.
They're always sipping from cups like that.
Okay.
Big gulps.
Yeah, and again, like Chelsea Peretti and Eric Andre is like perfect. Like
but the cackling,
the craziest. Yeah.
What I was trying to say is the cackling is almost like too much. It's a lot of cackling, and it goes on really long.
The thing is, they should. I think that gag. And what I like about this film that's different from something like Hot Rod, where like the gags go on forever and ever. This film doesn't really do that.
That's the joke in. That's why that joke lands in Hot Rod. The two jokes I like, it's because it goes on forever.
For me, only one of those two worked for me in that film. But yeah, but that is one of the rare cases in this film that where like they actually bring back a joke. But it was a little too much when they went back the second time. The first time they did that, I thought it was funny, especially because like it was so over the top, especially with like having Eric Andre. Like you really benefit from like that level of over the top.
Yeah.
So they didn't need to bring it back, but originally I thought it was a really funny joke.
Also, another theory. You're right, by the way. Another theory I have of the film is that Hunter the Hunter specifically is based off 2015 era Tyler the Creator, which I think is quite blatant.
Yeah.
Because around
I
that
totally see
2014, 15 Tyler the Creator is different from 2019, 2020 Tyler the Creator in terms of his like persona, his attitude, and the music he makes. And so I definitely think a Hunter is it Hunter the Hungry? Hunter the Hunter? I can't remember.
It's Hunter. Yeah, I think it's Hunter the Hungry.
Yeah, Tyler the Creator, Hunter the Hungry, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's definitely a connection.
Oh yeah.
Also, it's Chris Redd pre SNL, which is interesting. Because I'd never seen him in anything before Popstar. He's very good.
Me neither.
On SNL.
Yeah, he's really good.
Movie. He sells his role perfectly. I like seeing him get bitch slapped at the end. That was funny, and him trying to sell.
That's another thing is like, I think the most like the best like consistent performance in this is definitely Tim Meadows as the manager.
Tim Meadows is
he's
in
actually,
this and
he's actually
in
so good.
He's in this and in Dewey Cox. The man knows how to pick his music pastiches.
But he's even. I think he's even better in this. And like, he sells the absurdity of it as well. Yeah,
I reference that a lot in real life. Tony.
I just like how his like inflection, even within that moment, changes. I think Tim Meadows is actually one of the best parts of it, especially because there's just that one bit when they're like in the club and Hunter the Hunter starts like singing and it's like really aggressive rap music and Tim Meadows is like smiling, like bopping his head side to side, like very casually and slowly, like it's like a slow like rock song. And it's really funny just because he's got that kind of like warm energy, but also very like there's still a level of it being over the top while also being like quite grounded, which I really like about like having him in it. He's also really good.
Also the in terms of the movie's use of cameos, going back to that, like some people are in it so briefly, and it's like I wonder, like it's not even for a joke sometimes.
Yeah.
Like specifically Weird Al Yankovic's appearance at the end.
Oh yeah.
He's just on the stage at the Poppies.
Yep, he's just there.
Yeah, so that's not a joke though.
No.
It's him. It's like as someone else.
They just I don't know. They were probably Weird Al fans growing up, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Like, it totally makes sense for him to be in the movie as a cameo.
Yeah.
But it's strange that they used him like not as a joke.
Sure.
By the way, another one of the best songs, Incredible Thoughts at the end.
Yeah, absolute I was going to say the cameo of Michael Bolton is perfect.
Also,
especially because
Sarah
like, that's
Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman. Really yeah, she is. But I like the inclusion of Michael Bolton because that's a fun cameo for like Lonely Island fans. That's good. Like, here you go. Like, you'll recognize like this from our Jack Sparrow song, and like when I first saw it, I got a kick out of it because I did like listening to.
I have no problem with the Michael Bolton inclusion. I think that was great.
Yeah, it was really
Maya Rudolph as Deborah. What's the origin of that? Deborah.
That scene is so good, especially because like. So she drops the N-word, and then off camera you hear one of the characters very like quietly under the voice goes, "Wow, we went for the hard R there, didn't we?"
Tim Meadows.
Yeah. And just like I love that because you can tell they did that in post, where like they were putting together that scene. They're like, "Oh, we're missing something."
Was it really off screen? I thought it was on.
No, it was off screen. It happens.
You've seen it more recently than me, but I felt like it was
right after she says it.
We're back once again. My Wi-Fi dropped out this time. Sorry, this episode has been a mess in terms of our Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Ryan's new apartment is getting set up, and mine just decided to be mean. We were just talking about the use of the Deborah joke and the hard R joke as well. How that was added apparently in post, which I did not notice. I thought
it was definitely off screen, or like it was the line was dropped as a transition between one shot to the other, but I'm pretty sure like I didn't know who had said it. That's why
I
was surprised it was Tim Meadows. So I'm pretty sure it was off screen.
Also,
but yeah, I really just I like those kind of off screen jokes that are like kind of under the breath of certain characters. Like those are always good bits, and that worked really well in the Deborah scene.
Ashley Wednesday as a character is hilarious to me. When I was little, I looked in the magazines.
A great line. Yeah.
And I saw all these couples, and people were asking, "Are these people for real, or are they doing it to get attention?" And then I knew I wanted to be one of those couples.
Be one of those people. Yeah.
That's
couples,
so funny. The idea of growing up and being like, I want people to doubt whether my relationship is real or not. That's unbelievable.
I love the.
Go ahead.
Well, I love the vainness of that, and it's cool that the casting on that I thought was also really smart, because she's played by Imogen Poots,
right.
And I thought that was really smart because like she is like an established actor, but she's not a household name, so she fits well as like you can believe it. Like she's someone who's she is kind of famous, but not so famous. Like one of those who just wanted to be famous people. And I thought that was really smart casting.
Yeah. I also Connor's personal assistant who eats the dog shit pancakes without blinking. Amazing as well.
That whole scene was really good.
His whole posse as well. His whole posse is great. The casting on that was fantastic. The bit that's in the trailer where he throws a basketball and they're all like,
it's great. And then they're all excited for him. Yeah.
Also underused as well. Joan Cusack as Connor's mom.
What a brief just
again
out of nowhere.
Maybe I need to grab the Blu-ray and check out the deleted scenes because I'm sure there's a lot that they included there. I do like the emotional beat when they're at an after party and his mom is doing cocaine and Connor looks really sad.
Yeah.
Also, another song that was cut from the movie, I just remembered. It's not played in the background of a scene or it's played over the credits, but it's cut. Is Legalize It, which has it tune-wise, it's not very Rastafarian. Legalize it, you think it's about marijuana, and it turns out he smokes something thinking it's marijuana, but it's crack, and the whole song is about how they should legalize crack. So really good as well.
I should listen to the soundtrack then.
It's really good. They cut a lot of stuff out. Even just like extended. I think Equal Rights is extended in the soundtrack as well.
I've seen the entirety of that video song. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Which again, rewatching that bit is like I forgot how good that was. That bit of just like, wow, he's also, like the insecurity of his own masculinity is so funny.
Also, after that clip came out,
fun of that's great.
Have you seen Macklemore since this movie came out? I haven't seen him. He's hiding.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, it's 100% Macklemore, the parody.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
Same love. I think the song is, where it's like he was. Yeah. Not in the song, but afterwards he was very defensive. Like, I'm not gay, but.
But so yeah, I can totally see that. But I thought that was just poking fun at how celebrities like just will take an issue that isn't even their own and all of a sudden make it theirs.
Well,
but then they still inject.
But it's more. I think it's still more the Macklemore.
But it's still about. Yeah, but I don't know. I still thought that was a good satire of like even when celebrities are taking serious issues, they're still making it about themselves.
Yeah.
And musicians, especially in that vein.
In terms of songs, I don't like the catchphrase verse. I don't think it's funny.
Me neither, actually.
I don't think it's that funny. Like
the graphics, the graphics to it are amusing.
Yeah, but that's it.
But the actual what they're actually doing isn't that funny. But I thought maybe this time around that was the point, because how big of a deal everyone else makes of it, and like how much it is a part of their relationship. Connor's and what's the other guy's name?
Owen?
Not Owen.
No,
Lawrence. The guy Akiva plays.
Lawrence.
But between Connor and Lawrence, like those bits are actually funnier than the actual like song is. So I thought maybe it's supposed to be bad, and the joke is that like everyone's like fighting over it when it's really not that good. But I think I might be giving the film more credit there than like
maybe
I need to
maybe. But just the overall humor of the songs is very silly.
It's not.
And I actually haven't brought up my nitpick. My nitpick is related to the songs. They don't make enough of a distinction of why Connor's new songs are suddenly bad, but everyone else loves all the old songs.
Oh, I see. I thought they made that distinction quite clear.
Like, how come to within the music?
Within the music? Oh,
like the quality of the music. Because they're all like, this song sucks, but like, Donkey Roll, amazing. They don't really make a distinction.
Okay, that's a good point, actually.
It's not a real criticism because the song slaps anyway.
No.
And I would rather they're good songs, but they make a deal that his new songs aren't very good.
Within the dialogue, I mean, they reference the fact that like his new album, Owen didn't help produce, or like,
which I think
there was basically no one to like rein him in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like beat wise you can hear the difference, but lyrics and all that, I that's actually a really good point I never even thought of.
I didn't think of it until I saw it this time around. But like, the topics are maybe a bit more like, they're not reined in. The Bin Laden song, equal rights, like no one maybe told him no. Maybe that's where you're meant to come at it from. But musically, they don't really make a distinction of why, to me at least, they don't really make a distinction to why these new songs are bad, which I understand why maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
If they wanted the songs on the soundtrack to actually be good, and Lonely Island is incapable of making a bad song, perhaps that's why. But
could be.
Also, it's a shame that I don't like "I'm So Humble" that much, the one with Adam Levine, because the other song,
I don't like that one.
I don't like it that much. The other song Lonely Island has made with Adam Levine is one of my favorites. I think YOLO is a great song.
It doesn't compare to YOLO, but like it, I don't know. I still quite like it. I don't know. Yeah, also, I like that song, especially because when I hear it, all I can think of is like the fridge gag.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't know, that just makes me laugh.
Also,
so I don't know. Maybe I like it for that reason.
I really like the gag and the joke Ibiza. Everyone here pronounces T-A-S with a T-H, so it's not Spain.
That's like T-H.
Spain. Spain.
Yeah. Spain. But even I haven't heard that full song, and you can tell that like that song was also very much clipped and edited.
Which I wasn't expecting them to play the full songs, because it's a big soundtrack, and you can't just have the whole soundtrack played.
But that's one of those where I think it was actually a good thing that they edited it.
Yeah,
because like that's a very funny joke.
But it's also
for like to go on for 3 minutes as a full song.
Yeah, no. I don't mind that song being cut. Mona Lisa, I think they should have let it play out, especially with how it comes in later with the Ashley Wednesday song, which is another great song, and the whole proposal bit is also a great gag.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But we didn't even talk about one of the funniest gags.
The use of Seal was funny.
Yeah, we didn't even talk. When there's the headline later that Ashley Wednesday's getting married to Seal. That's great as well. I
love that.
No, I also we didn't even talk about one of the funniest gags is when he's in the car and he's going to sign a pair of breasts, and someone comes up against the car with their penis at the window.
That is one of the best jokes of the film.
And that's it's almost inconsistent with the rest of the movie in terms of the humor.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't really uses more like gags and shit like that, and this is more like we got to dig
gross out, raunchy.
Yeah. It's R-rated, but it's not nudity R-rated for most part.
Yeah, but that's why it's that's why it's smart, because I feel like it earns that, because the rest of the film isn't like that. So that joke comes along and you not only give it a pass, but you find it to be funny because it's so out of like left field. Like it comes from nowhere and it just continues escalating.
I think we should probably talk about the actual emotional beats of the film towards the end.
It really, the endings what I think makes the film work as like a film, and not just like, oh, it's very funny, but like it's enjoyable to rewatch because like there is that nice center to it.
No, just a movie has to still be compelling outside of like the pastiche of it when it comes to these mockumentary type films. That's why American Vandal works so well. It's hilarious, but also it works. It has some great emotional resolution. It has something to say by the end of it, but also the drama of it all, the actual like
is actually really good.
Like the mystery of it all is also really good. And so this movie isn't just like jokes, Justin Bieber parody. It's also like there's an emotional through line with these characters, and it's about these people growing up, and it has something to say about fame as well. I like the bit with Tim Meadows where he's like, you go up, 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 and then you go down, 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 and then
you just gotta ride the wave.
I think it's Connor saying like, fame is like a wave. You just need to know how to ride it. And so
that was Tim Meadows' line originally, and then he's like, a wise man once said.
A wise man once said.
But even within that, that was a great gag where he's like, Tony, waiter, Style Boys, Connor for real.
I'm probably going downstairs. And he does Hunter the Hunter.
Yeah, he's so good. That's so funny.
No,
I
really like Tim Meadows. I wish he was in more things.
Yeah, I do too. This is one of those. I don't know much about him. Gets a prominent part.
I don't know if he's a bad person or anything, but I wish he was in more.
No,
things.
he's one of Adam Sandler's friends, and like he's a part of that group, and like you see him pop up in like his films every now and again. But like to see him like kind of shine and have a main role in something like this, and like crush it is so nice to see.
No,
because he's great in that role.
No.
Tony.
So Tony.
It's just so dumb, but it's so.
And you see him playing
the
sax at the end.
And
that's we already mentioned it, but Justin Timberlake at the end with the fish costume, so good.
Yeah, and he's so excited. He's like, guys, it was me,
Cyrus.
Yeah, he's so excited. Yeah, that's also a great gag. He was like, cut more quietly, and he's just like painstakingly.
No, but I also just love the bit where he's like talking about the different cuts of carrots, and it's like, I do everything so Connor can enjoy himself, and he's just like,
you see him like peering through the window, smiling at him. It's so funny. Just Justin Timberlake's character was really good, actually.
Once again, our Wi-Fi cut out. This is an incredibly messy episode. I'm so sorry. But what I was saying is that Justin Timberlake's performance, I think, is really good. All the gags surrounding his character is really good, even though potentially, allegedly, his wife may be an anti-vaxxer, which would implicate him as well, most likely. Yeah. But aside from that, his appearance is very good in this movie.
Yeah, and prior to breaking, our connection breaking out, you mentioned that he's collabed with The Lonely Island before, and like
Mother
a
Lover
couple of their is one of their best songs.
Oh wait. Oh shit! Sorry, I take back. I'm looking at the IMDb cast list. I take back what I said. I'm so stupid. Andy Samberg's wife is in this, as well as Akiva and Jorma's wife. Joanna Newsom, who's actually quite a successful indie artist. She makes some pretty good music. Very different from what you would expect out of Andy Samberg's wife. She plays the steampunk doctor that does the flatlining.
Oh yeah.
Which I never realized that, because I know what Joanna Newsom looks like, and she's very prominent in that scene, but she's wearing like a steampunk outfit, so I didn't recognize her at all.
And makeup as well.
Yeah, and Akiva's wife is the one who makes out with him at the end. Who randomly makes out with. That's his wife.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
And like I said, Marielle Heller is one of the people with several cameras.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't know that trivia.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize Joanna Newsom was in this until now. Otherwise, what else do we have to say? We can go back to the emotional beat with how it has to do with their friendship, which ties back into the autobiographical element with The Lonely Island.
Well, I think it works really well, and the tying together of, you know, him understanding that, like, the fact that he can be his own thing, but he's still always a part of them, is very much Andy Samberg. You can do your own thing, you know, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, be your own kind of like star in films and TV, but like you're still part of like the Lonely Island, and we will still like make music and do stuff because like childhood friends, you know, never give that up. And like, I don't know, I think it's
a good message.
It's a good message, and they deliver it well, and it's very believable because they've got great chemistry, and like, you know, that the same was true for them. They were kids growing up, and they were friends growing up, and
he was friends with Chelsea Peretti growing up as well, and they still work together.
Yep.
Which, by the way, is kind of crazy to think about. Like imagine like still like working with your best friends from when you were like 8.
Yeah.
When you're 40. Like I have friends from when I was when I was like 4 that I'm still friends with, but like I'm not going to be working with them when I'm 40. That's a bit out there. Like, and so like they must be so close, which is crazy to think about. But it's the same with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg as well, I think.
Yeah. They were, I mean, Superbad is based off of them and their high school experiences.
They wrote that in high school, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That's also a funny film. But yeah, they tie it in nicely, and I like how even through like the emotional beats, they're still like very typical their comedy, because the whole like, you know, all right, so you know, you had a little bit of help with, you know, with the catchphrase verse and that whole gag about how it basically ends up being like, fine, I wasn't even there, I didn't even show up. Like, that's a good gag. Or like you find out that he's actually a weed farmer.
Yeah, which is great as well.
Yeah,
and they make a bong out of the poppies.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, and that's nice because you just get to see him having fun, but it's not like, you know, over long or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. It's a really nice ending to the film.
Also,
very heartwarming.
The emotional beat earlier on when Connor is sending off his dead turtle in a box in the pool.
I love that.
Then everyone jumps in and he's so sad.
I love that.
That's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, but I thought that was so funny when like he shoots out the firework and everyone jumps in. And just it's so ridiculous. But
I don't know. It's heartbreaking though. It's heartbreaking.
But I feel like that's what the Lonely Island as well. Not just in this, but I thought of MacGruber as well, where like sometimes things are very, very, very stupid, but in a way that you can tell is smart, and like they've thought through the joke in a way that is like, oh, this isn't dumb lazy, it's dumb smart. And like that's one of those where, like, on one level it's really sad, on another level it's really stupid that everyone would jump into a pool with like a burning dead turtle, but like that's what makes it funny. And like I really like that, like their brand of comedy. And I've always really liked Andy Samberg.
No,
I mean, we talked about Palm Springs being really good, but also like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's a really good show.
No, the Lonely Island, whenever they have their hands in various pies, I think they make the projects better. There's a show they produce that I've been meaning to watch called Pen 15, which I think I might have mentioned it. I've mentioned it to you before. I might have mentioned it on the podcast, but Pen 15 is penis, if you didn't know. And it's a high
Shocker.
school. No, it's a middle school show. But the creators of the show and the two leads of the show who created the series, being very repetitive, they star as the middle schoolers. And so it's these like 30-something-year-old actresses playing next to like 11-year-old boys. It's very funny. I've seen a couple episodes. I need to continue watching. I stopped watching, not because it wasn't good. I just didn't have the time. But it's an interesting gag. And whenever they do produce something, I think they make it better because they have a very specific style of comedy that I think improves a lot of things. Because it's just it's so charming.
It is, and that was something that like even though Connor's a dick in the film, like the film ends up being charming because of those like emotional beats that you talked about. And like it's nice because like it's not overly complicated. It's not like trying to like tug at your heartstrings. It's not drawing it's not drawing anything out. It's just like, they made up, their friends are back together. They reconcile in a way that isn't like I said, overdone or anything like that. It's just, it's just feel good without the effort.
Yeah.
You know.
We need to get Connor for real. Not Connor for real. We need to buy the Style Boys sweater, which you can buy online. They have
those
official
are
merch.
sick.
We should buy those.
Really good.
We should buy those. Because the Lonely Island officially sells those sweaters. Last time I checked, they still sell them. So we should definitely get them.
I actually really like those.
No, because they're cool sweaters.
Yeah, they are. I really like those.
Otherwise, I don't have much more to say about this. This has been another short episode. But yeah, we just kind of wrapped up our thoughts on the film. It's really, really good. I think
it's great. It's
fantastic. Palm Springs is a better movie, but
but this is a great comedy.
This is completely different.
I feel like. Yeah,
and this was really their film. Palm Springs, they heavily produced it, but this is a Lonely Island film.
Yeah, it is properly theirs.
Even though this movie doesn't have the Lonely Picture Classics intro title screen.
I wish I love that.
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs did. Yeah, I wish that they had that on this. Yeah.
But yeah, I cannot wait to see what they do next. We didn't mention this.
I do too.
The last real Lonely Island thing they did together was the Bash Brothers Experience.
Yeah,
which I don't like that much. Not because it's not funny, but it's
experimental.
No, not just that. It's in terms of the humor, it's way more specific than Popstar.
Yeah, it's very specific.
I have a friend from California who I was talking to this about, and she's like, "Yeah, I know who the Bash Brothers is, so it's super funny." But I have no knowledge of who the Bash Brothers is because I
didn't know
from California. So because apparently everybody from California knows who the Bash Brothers is, who they are, and so I was completely lost with a lot of the humor.
The thing with that was
stuff I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was fine because I was in your boat, but I thought it was an interesting experiment, and that the idea of a visual album that is.
I love visual albums. I love
chronicling real people and their stories, and reading up on it afterwards and seeing how they approach certain aspects of those brothers' lives was very interesting. But yeah, I was like you, where parts of it I found to be funny, but other parts I was like, okay.
I'm a pretty big fan of music video projects, visual projects that. They have a weak narrative, but there is a narrative Childish Gambino's Guava Island. I thought was pretty good, which is
I haven't seen that.
It's on Amazon Prime exclusively. I think I enjoyed that. It kind of remixes some of his old songs, so there's a different version of This Is America, and it's shot by Hiro Murai, who does all his music videos in Atlanta, and so it looks great. And we've already talked about it, but Anima by Tom York, another I don't
that was good.
That's not. It's technically 3 music videos, but there's a narrative throughout it. So I also consider that a visual project related to music. So I'm a big fan of those, which you just talked about. But that's all we have to say about the movie, really.
Yeah. Great film, really good comedy. I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, but same. It's a good comedy when you rewatch it and you laugh at something different or something that you've missed. Each passing time. Yeah, and and the jokes that I laugh out loud at every single time. And it's a great comedy. It really is.
Otherwise, what are we talking about next week, Ryan?
Next week we're talking about Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away.
Which I've never seen, which I know is blasphemy. I've only seen one. I'm very
excited for you to see because it is. Which is?
Kiki's Magic Delivery Service.
I haven't seen that.
Was you haven't seen that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought you had.
Nope. I haven't seen all of his films.
Which I thought was very underwhelming, and I've tried. I tried to watch years ago, 5 years ago. I tried to watch My Neighbor Totoro, and it didn't really.
You shouldn't start with those because those are definitely more of his kiddie films where if you like his more adult stuff, you watch those and you find the things to admire about them within it. I saw My Neighbor Totoro when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen it in like 10 years until like earlier this year.
Yeah, and
when I
the Magic
it was like that. Well, like
it's another kiddie film, I think. Even though it has a good message, but that's another film. That's like, the thing is, like, I don't know if I can enjoy this if I didn't grow up with it.
I think if you watch stuff like Princess Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle or Spirited Away, and you revisit like something like My Neighbor Totoro or Kiki's Special Delivery Service, I can't remember the actual title. Like you see that there's more actually underneath the surface than like one may think. But I think you'll really like Spirited Away. It's we'll like
talk about that next week.
Yeah, it's my top 2 or 3 animated films like ever, and like I think it's an amazing film. So I'm excited to have a chat about it.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. You can find us at thegoodthebadandthekino@gmail.com. And I just heard ball tapping in the background, by the way. Your roommates are ball tapping again.
It's back to it.
Back to ball tapping, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And our Letterboxd accounts are linked in the description below. As we've said, we're talking about Spirited Away next week.
Yep.
And stay kino, everybody. Thanks for listening. Sorry this episode was a bit messy in terms of like our Wi-Fi would cut out and one of us would keep talking and then we have to go back and cut that out. So apologies for that. Stay with us. Hopefully next time it's not as bad. And Ryan should be getting his Wi-Fi fixed in his new apartment.
Fixed soon, yeah. So it'll
maybe get a desk so we're not getting a weird shot of Ryan laying in a bed.
I'm working on it too, you know.
Yeah. For those watching the video version, Ryan is just chillaxing. What's the thing hanging above you and your roommates?
So I'm in my roommate's room and he's got like a little Liverpool flag. He's a Liverpool fan. Football and all that, you know. I wouldn't really get it as an American.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Even though you do play FIFA on the PS on your Xbox.
I have. I love FIFA. Yeah. It's good fun. Next week Spirited Away. Very, very, very exciting stuff. And
can't wait. Stay
thanks
kino,
for
guys.
listening, everyone, and stay kino.
Yeah. Bye.